Okay, for more on this, let's bring in former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Saland. Jeremy, I want to ask about this breaking news. So we learned that two of these co-defendants basically were just released a matter of moments ago, but they were going through this processing overnight. Can you explain, I guess, potentially why?
Well, there's timing is everything. And again, they have time to turn themselves in because this is not the deadline yet. Also, they may be trying to sort of escape all the media and all the action around this case, which is very, very big. And I would point out that Mr. Schaefer, who was the Republican chairman in Georgia, the GOP chairman in Georgia, has already indicated, A, he wants removal as a contingent, if you will, presidential elector. But he's also already signaled that this is Trump. I was listening to Trump's attorneys. I was following Trump's lawyers. So, he may be trying to distance himself a little bit as well, not want to be caught up when Trump and Giuliani and the bigger fish come in.
All right, well, let's start talking about Rudy Giuliani because we've been discussing him a lot this week. First, he was struggling to pay those legal bills. Then he was having trouble finding a Georgia attorney. But now we understand he does have a lawyer to help him through this bond process. We're expecting him to be in Georgia today. Jeremy, what should we expect to see when it comes to the former mayor of New York?
Well, it should be similar to what the other folks did, meaning there was an agreement in terms of what that bail will be, likely putting up 10% as the other folks likely did as well. And I would expect that Giuliani is somewhat scrambling. I mean, as we know, he's looking for money. He's having difficulties and now is only finding an attorney. He has Mr. Carrick who's helping him out. I think Giuliani is getting desperate. And if I were Donald Trump, I would be concerned to be turning my back on someone who knows a lot about me and what did or didn't happen in those rooms. So, we're not going to hear everything, but today I expect it'll go somewhat in the order of everybody else.
And Jeremy, though, I know we've talked about this a lot leading up to this moment, but can you just put into context how unthinkable it would have been, say, 20, 30 years ago to picture Rudy Giuliani at a jail, dealing with bond, getting a mugshot, all for at least some RICO charges?
I'd like to say you feel bad for a man who's fallen so far and so hard. But at the same time, if this is proven beyond a reasonable doubt, there is nobody to blame. America's mayor, as he used to be called, can only look at himself in that mirror and say, I did this. I conspired with the president and these other people to overturn democracy, the election. It's really pathetically sad if true. And at worst, he's at best for him, I guess you could say, he's caught up in this. But it's really a bad look and a horrible thing for him and the nation.
Jeremy, I want to talk about some of the other co-defendants. Mark Meadows and Jeffrey Clark, they've asked a federal judge to block their arrests. Do you think they can avoid this Friday's deadline to surrender?
The only way that happens is if a judge were to have a stay between now and Friday. But it's been already clear that the judge is already going to have a hearing, in one word, there'll be substantive issues and testimony on Monday to address that the case should be removed. It's a removal proceeding from the state court to the federal court. So I don't expect either one of them is going to be successful in stopping this clock from happening or moving forward between now and Monday, if at all.
Jeremy, we have 19 co-defendants here. We're seeing now a lot of different legal strategies so far over the course of this week and last. John Eastman saying he was just performing his ethical duty as a lawyer. Former Georgia Republican Chair David Schaefer, we were just discussing, he's arguing he was acting at the direction of Trump. I'm curious, are any of these defenses standing out to you so far?
Well, I think if you look at Eastman or any attorney, they're weighing two issues. One is potential incarceration and conviction. And another is their attorneys. They're going to get disbarred if they're convicted. So when you look at Eastman, for example, I am not shocked that he's doubling down, if you will, saying, I believe that this actually happened, that the election was a fraud, not from his perspective, but in other words, it was Trump's election that was stolen. So that defense doesn't shock me. Whether that holds water is a different thing. I think the bigger issue is that specifically for Donald Trump, all these lesser players, if you will, are having their own strategies, and some of that may ultimately be, I need the money, I'm going to jail, he's not helping me, I don't want that to happen, I'm going to flip. And I would not be shocked if somewhere down the line, especially again, when you hear someone like Schaefer saying, hey, it was Donald Trump's team that told me to do this, that someone is going to turn on the president.
Jeremy Saland, former Manhattan prosecutor, helping us get through an historic week. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.